Good evening. Welcome to the River Falls Municipal Utility Advisory Board meeting for June 19th, 2017. Christy, can we have the roll call?
Odine. Here. Macheski.
Here.
Swanson. Here. Peterson.
Here.
Toom.
Here.
Richter.
Here.
Perfect. I'd like to see approval of the minutes for April 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And now's the time for public comments. Does anybody in the audience have any comments that they'd like to address towards the board? Okay. Anybody at all? I should do it 3 times. Seeing how there are no comments, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which would be the acknowledgement of the West Central Wisconsin Biosolids Facility Commission meeting minutes and the Powerful Choices Committee meeting minutes.
Move approval. Is the
Se-
consent agenda as published?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. And moving on to new business, the first item would be the election of Utility Advisory Board President and Secretary.
And I just want to be clear too on the secretary position, though you're actually signing off in the official meeting minutes. Christie does take those minutes, so you'll just sign and approve those if you're happy with them. So that role is more of a backup role in case the president can't be here. But
I'd like to open for nominations.
I move Adam Macheski as president.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Oh, no, we vote. We vote.
No, you need to ask if there are any other.
Oh, are there any other, are there any other nominations? Seeing as how there are none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And open for the secretary position? Nominations?
I nominate Dwayne.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3 would be the Kim Jennings will give a presentation on the Consumer Connect web portal demonstration.
Kim was kind enough to drive up today from Sun Prairie to give us a demo today from WPPI. We've been working with Kim. River Falls was one of the 2 pilot communities, I believe, in the WPPI system, working on a kind of a program that's going to be a web portal and be able to be used on your handheld device to pay your utility bill and see your customer usage. And before we get too much farther down the road with it, we asked Kim to come up, and she was kind enough to drive up and kind of give the Utility Advisory Board a little overview about what we're thinking with Customer Connect. So Kim, thanks for driving up, and the floor is yours.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Well, first of all, congratulations to the new officers. I don't usually get the opportunity to see that part of the meeting, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
So as Kevin mentioned, I'm here to talk to you tonight about a program that we've been working with River Falls staff on over the past several months called Customer Connect. A little bit of history on the program. So throughout the year in 2016, WPPI membership got together for some strategy meetings to determine what our business plan would look like for the years 2017 to 2021. And one of the priorities that came out of that discussion was to improve how we engage with our customers. So today, as far as a customer portal, do any of you pay online in the utilities, on the utilities portal today? Today, it's basically a billing payment portal, and it served the needs of the customers for quite some time. I'm not sure exactly when you implemented the existing portal, Kevin. Do you remember?
It was a few years back.
Yeah, a couple years. So, as I said, one of the priorities that came out of the strategy discussions was that we not only want to have a payment portal, but we want to have a way for customers to communicate with the utility staff on other issues and just to improve that. So our job as WPPI staff is to help our member utilities advance their technology initiatives, and this is one of the ways to do that. So a little more background. In those discussions, we talked about how customers today are really trending towards online interaction. Many of you have probably heard the group of millennials coming up. They're going to be homeowners. They're going to be customers of the utility. And they really, they may not interact with the utility much at all if not for an online presence. So we want to make sure that improves. So that's a little bit about how we're referring to customer engagement versus just a billing portal. So what this new web portal will do is allow customers to communicate with the utility, with their phone, with their tablet, with the computer. Anytime they're on the go, they can use this portal. It actually fits to a phone. If you've ever tried to go to a website where you're trying to read it on your phone and you have to kind of scroll across and up and down to see everything, well, this actually fits to the phone, so it's automatic. So that's a really nice benefit to it. It has a lot of self-service capabilities, so the customer can, like I said, not only pay, but manage their account, send communications to the utility staff. And when we get farther down the road with this initiative, and I think you're talking about AMI a little bit later in the evening, this will allow us to actually show data to the customers that they can use to manage their energy consumption. So that will be a great benefit as well. So two-way communications is very important. Customers will be able to track usage and possibly even lower their bills by having this data available to them at all times. And we also want to use this portal to encourage the customers to participate in the utilities programs. So they can, we can make news announcements on this portal. And I know that River Falls is big on a lot of customer programs, and you want to have a good participation in those programs. So we'll definitely help to advertise those on the site. Customers will also be able to receive alerts and notifications if, say, the utility is planning a construction project or anything like that. That would be an example of how we can alert the customers through this site. And possibly in the future, we would incorporate an outage management system so that we can communicate when the utility has planned outages, or if it's unplanned, when we expect the power to be restored, and will also allow the customers to tell us if they're out of power as well. So a roadmap for this pilot, like I said, we've been working with the staff over the past several months. Eventually, we want to transition from the existing billing portal to the new Customer Connect site, and this will be a standard offering for Northstar participants. Northstar is the billing, the customer information system software that they use. The site will pass along benefits of advanced metering infrastructure, as I mentioned earlier, when you embark on that starting in 2018. And the pilot program will add features to get to that point throughout 2017. So really what we're looking for is a one-stop shop for utility interaction with the customer. So anything we can communicate through that site. Right now, today, the site is under construction, I guess is the best term for it. We have some basic functions available at this time, and what River Falls staff, utility staff is going to do is transition to the Customer Connect site in a limited go live version, which means that they will participate with city staff and maybe another group of participants that you select to test the site and make sure that everything is working and set the way that you want it to be. And we would plan to, Kevin, did you say September 1st? You would like to?
I think we said October 1st is what we're
Okay.
shooting for.
Okay.
So we're going to try to get a pilot test group within the city and a few outside the city, and then get some bugs worked out yet this summer. And I think October 1st, try to go live and offer to the public is what we've been
Okay.
talking about.
So a fairly lengthy testing phase so that we make sure that everything is set in the site the way that you want it to, and to limit any questions that need to come in from the customers. The ideal situation would be that customers who are using the existing payment portal would have a very simple process to re-register on this new site, and it's fairly seamless to do so. So we're going to start with those basic functions, and as we move towards AMI conversion, we will add some of these additional functionality. Add interval usage that the customer can view, add the notification availability. They will be able to start and stop their service on this site rather than calling into the office. They will be able to apply for service and some other advanced notifications, kind of like the outage management that I was mentioning earlier. They can also request payment arrangements for any delinquent balances on their accounts, and they can sign up for program offerings. And again, this is going to be additional functionality applied throughout 2017. And when we get to the AMI, when the meters are all changed to AMI meters, we'll have that advanced energy management, and they can see what time of use their energy is occurring throughout the day. So we're kind of just trying to set the stage for these future initiatives with this site. So I think I mentioned already, the site testing is happening now. The site is under construction. We're going to soon as we have our edits in place, do a limited go live, possibly as early as next week, and have the city employees and the potential test group test that site. And we will also assist the staff in developing and distributing customer communications in probably a variety of arenas, maybe bill inserts, maybe some other advertising venues. And then when we get done with that testing phase, we'll have final site edits and then go live for the customers. So this is a example of what the site looks like. And I apologize, it's a little hard to read up there, but essentially it's the big icons that tell the user essentially what the basic functionality is at this point in time. On the bottom of that, where it says billing and payment management, account management, and notification preferences, these are all of the additional functionality that's going to be added. One thing I wanted to point out as well is this is another part of the site where it gives information about the utility and actually has links to the utility's existing website. So all of the information about the Utility Advisory Board, about employment opportunities, about news events that are happening, the customer can be linked directly to those items. This is an example, and I had to mark off the customer account and name information there, but this is an example of what a screen for the bill history would be for a customer account. So it typically gives this, and this is kind of a staging environment here, so we don't have an updated a listing here through June, but typically you would see 12 months of history when the customer opens this up, and they can view their actual utility bill on here as it was mailed to them, exactly the way it looks. So you would be able to see this under billing information and also any transactions that the customer had through the past 12 months. This is the area, an example of how the customer can manage their account. So this is where additional functionality will be added for them to make notifications to the utility staff. You will see this change over time as that functionality is added. And this is just an example of what it looks like to actually put your credit card information in. It's probably very familiar. It's pretty standard in the industry to have those required fields for the customer to fill in, and it shows them a payment summary and describes how the fees will be added to the customer, so it's very clear to them what they're going to be charged. So that's all I had for my presentation. Kevin, did you want to add anything, or do you have any questions for me?
I was just going to add a couple things. Is one nice thing about Customer Connect compared to our current system. Our current system, to get into your account, you have to know your account number. So if you're like me, I can't remember my long 12-number account number, and I end up not getting into the system. This, once you get in and log in, it's just password protected. So if you remember your password, you can get into your system and pay your bill or review your account pretty easily. I think that's one nice thing. Also, the payment options using credit card and things like that. There's more payment options here than our customers have seen in the past. So they have more availability to pay your bill. So there's a couple nice fringe things that I think are going to make this pretty attractive for some customers. Now, many customers are an automatic bill pay. It's probably not going to be
Right.
that wow to them. But for those that are paying month to month on credit type situations, this would be really handy for them. So,
Those are really good points, and the site was really designed to be extremely user-friendly, easy to follow, and the directions are listed right there for the customer. So that was designed with that intent in mind for sure. So good points.
I'm just wondering, are other cities, towns, service areas doing this already? Are we one of the first? How do we compare?
For WPPI membership, you will be the first
Okay.
to offer this site to the customers. This was, I guess, when I told you in 2016 when we were working on this type of strategy and how this was going to play out into a web portal, North Star, the software provider, was also having those strategy meetings and talking about the same thing. And so that was a great partnership. And again, River Falls will be the first one to offer it.
Are others coming on board too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And North Star has other customers throughout the country too that will be using the site.
Thank you.
it was just the timing, right? I mean, you were talking about it, and we were talking about it internally, how to get a bill pay app of some type. And I think at one of our strategy meetings or executive team meetings, it came up, and our idea meshed what you guys are working on, and we said, yeah, we'll volunteer to be a pilot program. So it's kind of how that came together.
Yes, they very graciously agreed to work on it. It's not always easy to work on a pilot project because there's always, we've been through some review process where we wanted to change some of the structure of the site. So thank you for that.
No, it's been
very
good for
helpful.
River Falls too, because WPPI has done most of the heavy lifting on this and worked behind the scenes, and we just conference call and let you know what we like and don't like about the site. So
So you may have said this, but this will be available for every customer?
This will be available for every customer at the finale of the testing period, yes.
Okay.
Mhm. And when the communications, that'll be a timing of when the communications go out and make sure that the customers know how to register, and then it will be available.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. How many of the current 6,700 customers are using the current payment portal?
Christy, do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer.
They're
to
pretty
that.
small. Okay, well, that's fine. No problem.
I'm just guessing on a rough 10, 15%, something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's a pretty typical number for WPPI membership, is that it's actually pretty low. And so hopefully we can get that participation to
Sure.
increase with the additional functionality that's there.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? We have our beautiful front office area. We want people to come in. We want people to feel comfortable. But there's a segment of the population who just wants to do it electronically as well. So I think we're trying to service both. I think our philosophy's changed a little bit over the last few years of, I think about Salt River Project in Phoenix, who shut down all of their offices, right? They don't have anywhere you can walk in, and it's 24/7 phone answering and kiosks. So they just went full steam ahead into no more being able to walk in. And I know a lot of utilities are contemplating that, right? But now here I think, boy, small town, hometown, we still want to have that place where people can come, that place, right? And so we're going to offer that, but this convenience factor is also for a segment of our customers as well. I guess the ultimate, most efficient thing would be if everybody paid online, right? There's a lot of efficiencies to be had for our utility with that, but it might not be the best value for some of our customers who want that connection and a place to go pay. So we're trying to balance that.
Anybody have anything else?
Questions?
Kim, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
For
you for
making the
your
drive.
time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll give updates as we have them and move forward.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Item number 4 is the memorandum regarding the Consumer Confidence Report for 2016. And Kevin's going to address that.
Yeah, that's in your packets. Ron, I don't know if you want to come up and just give a little high level of just the consumer confidence report this year. We're very positive on that, and within our limits and no issues. You just want to just give a 30-second overview of it was a good year.
Yeah, I think as Kevin said, everything came out well. We didn't have any issues as far as the water system goes. So, yeah, it's just something we're required to do every year by the DNR, just kind of keep our customers informed what's in the water. And, you know, it's there. It's everything we're required to test for under the Safe Drinking Water Act. So, if I have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I would just say some of you weren't around a few years back before we had this nice insert that we have here. This goes in the bill as well as a bill stuffer. But I think WPPI has helped with that too, or is that all
I
you?
did that, yep.
That's all Christie. So anyway, she's put this nice one-pager together, and boy, it reads real nice. So, and that will be going in everybody's bill.
Thanks, Christy.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Item number 5 is a memorandum regarding the power plant substation update. And Kevin will address that as well.
Yeah, I just want to give folks, we've had our transformer, new transformer delivered late last year. It's been sitting out at the power plant substation site for some time, and folks might be wondering what's going on with that project and if it's actually going to be done this year. Well, Wayne and I have met with our engineer, and we've finally are advancing the ball there. So let me get to this here page. And I put a little timeline in your packet as well. That's probably the most important part. So we're going to have going out to bid on our building. On the back of that page, you see a rendering. The building I'm referring to is the brick building, kind of in the foreground there. That building will be going out to bid on June 23rd. Bids to build that building will be received by July 14th, and it'll be completed by October 15th. So that building will be done. Kind of at the same time, Xcel Energy is also building a building. You won't be able to see it, so they're building it in a good spot. See that tower kind of behind the building in the rendering there? Mm-hmm. So off to the right of that and kind of behind our building is where Xcel is going to be building their building. So they're building a new, like as Wayne calls it, a hut. It's not really a hut, but it's a switchgear building that Xcel's putting in. They have to terminate some of their cables there as well. So we have our building going in, Xcel's building going in. Once our building's in, our switchgear that's also been delivered and is out at the city garage will be moved out to the site and installed there as well. So the project's moving along. Wayne, if you want to say anything else about that, but the project is moving. We're going out to bid to get that building built. Once the building's built, we can bring the switchgear in, start doing cable terminations. We have a lot of cable to pull. You have anything else you want to add to that, Wayne?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. It's an update.
As far as our electrical service, this is a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Very big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
This power plant substation, I think I might have said it in here, but if I didn't, I'll repeat it again. This substation could actually feed the whole city. So this is the hub of all of our activity. Everything originates here at power plant sub for
Correct.
most of our city.
the original one that's in place holds about 60% of the city's load. So it's a vital piece of equipment that needs to be updated. So,
And then after this is done, I think next year, Wayne, we're going to be starting the circuit to go down Winter Street all the way out to Double M, or are we going to start that yet this year?
a portion of it's going to be done this year.
So over a 3-year period, we're taking a 3-phase circuit, taking it all the way out of the substation down Winter Street, all the way, I guess that's north,
Yep.
out to Double M.
Correct.
Once we get to Double M, we're going to kind of take it out towards Radio Road and hook it up there. So then we'll be able to backfeed the new corporate park if we need to do that. So then they'll have dual feeds out of both the power plant substation and north substation. Now, most of our customers these days are, I'm not going to say demanding, that's too strong, but dual electric feeds is a necessity for operation. I mean, if the power goes down or a substation goes down, they can't be waiting a week to get back up and running. So we'll have dual feed to our corporate parks, and we'll be able to feed them out of 2 separate substations, which is a big deal for the reliability for our customers.
Correct. Yep.
Also, too, as you look at that rendering, we've been tossing around the idea of just instead of plain brick walls there to do some artwork. I'm going to be working with a community arts base on that, actually. Either finding old black and white pictures that represent the old power plant or something we have, and then getting them blown up and putting them on the walls. This is kind of an artsy type memorial of the power plant, kind of make it a permanent thing to look at. So working on a few different ideas. As like I said, I want to get in touch with CAB, the Community Arts Base, and they'll have better ideas. I mean, I have general ideas, but they'll have the artsy ideas. Maybe there's iron work you can do or something, I don't know. But we're going to try to really highlight the old power plant and put it in, do some nice artwork on the side of those walls. So people can go down and look at something interesting, I guess, rather than just a blank wall. That's the power plant substation update. It's happening. Stay tuned.
Super.
Thank you. Item number 6 is a memorandum regarding the advanced meter infrastructure, which is the AMI meter replacement project.
Excuse me, this kind of relates to what Kim was talking about, but generally. Wayne brought some show and tell along today too. So we've been talking to you about advanced meter infrastructure. Just want to let people know again that we have installed just over 100 commercial AMI meters. So these large power customers can see their data, help manage load. Some of our smaller commercials where we've installed AMI meters, some of them have not yet embraced the My Meter software portion, but we're going to be offering that to all of our commercial customers who have AMI meters for data. We have experimented with 20 residential meters. We're not going to do any more, but we've experimented with 20 and they're working as well. So Wayne, you just want to show them the difference between an AMI advanced meter and what the older meters look like?
Are we talking commercial or?
Yeah, we can still start. I don't care, whatever you want to start with. What do you have there?
Residential meters.
Residential meters. So
I don't know if you guys want to hands-on or they'll be here.
we'll pass them around after you show them. So on the left is.
On the left is the new.
Yeah, your left. All right.
Is the new AMI meter as it looks as we speak now with, I don't know if we're going to talk about disconnect functions with it as well.
Well, it has disconnect and connect functionality.
So, and this is one of the older AMR meters. It has an ERT, it's called, that relays the meter reading information as the guys drive around with their trucks and picks up that information for billing.
So we've had those for 14 years, Wayne?
These?
AMR?
Yeah, about that time frame. About 2004 is when they started installing.
Another piece of information as we move to AMI, so the contract runs out on AMR in 2020?
2021.
2021?
Otherwise, we'll have to upgrade the equipment that reads this, so.
So, I mean, that's an important piece of information because someone might say, why AMI now? Well, either we're going to have to go AMI or upgrade what we have anyway, so.
Correct.
So that's one of the many reasons.
Right.
So.
Are there AMR meters out there now that are digital?
Correct. I
Yeah,
have
there
one of
are.
these as well.
Okay, all right.
Why don't you pass those around, Wayne? Pass those around and then show them one of the digital ones.
Here's the digital one.
Oh, that's what I have.
So really as you look at those meters, just to the casual observer, they probably won't even know the difference, right? I mean, they look similar.
Quite a bit heavier.
I mean, what you'd be able to tell the difference of is what Wayne is going to show. An old dial meter, Wayne? Why don't you pass one of those old ones? Oh, they have that. Okay. So yeah, the dial meter, I mean, that's, everybody knows what that looked like. They were around for 105 years.
Use two hands on this one.
Now what Wayne has there is, and now we're up to the commercial.
Yep. This is the older commercial meters that are out there at the moment. This is the digital AMR meter. This is still a manual read that we have out there. We still need to go out and hand read these every month. Still have roughly about 150 to 175 of these still out there. We have to manually read, so.
Now, changing one of those out, is it a pretty simple process? Or is it?
Commercial,
Sure.
Or any meter, the
yeah,
change-out process.
it goes relatively quick. Residential is quicker. Commercial, it might take an extra 10 minutes.
Okay.
Not that relatively much longer.
So how fast can you change out a residential meter, Wayne? I mean, just thinking about, you get out of your truck and you have an AMI meter or you have another meter in your hand, that's like a 5-minute process.
Yeah, it takes you longer to walk to the meter socket than change it out and walk back to the truck. It won't take that long.
Right. Unplug it,
It'll take
disconnect
long,
the seal, reseal it.
correct. It'll take longer to do the paperwork than actually do the change out, so.
So as Wayne passes those commercial ones around, interesting how AMI metering is getting cheaper all the time. It's amazing. So Wayne's buying some commercial AMI meters, the one he's passing around there. As it says in the memo, so an AMI meter is $307 for one of those, as compared to $355 for the AMR meter. So actually, the new technology, the new meters are cheaper than the old AMR meters. Maybe it's supply and demand, Wayne. Maybe they're not making as many AMR meters, and I don't know.
No, they're not.
So that is part of it, I guess, then, yeah. So AMR is just kind of on its way out in a special order almost, so they go to AMI and they're actually cheaper than the AMR.
Now, the AMI meter is, the readings are all just sent into the billing process.
Correct.
How often do you have to go out and verify the readings?
Wayne, there's probably a meter rotation, is it 10 years on the?
Verify the meter itself or the readings?
The reading.
The reading, we haven't had to verify any of them at the moment. We have verified them internally, but legality-wise, we haven't had any to go out and monthly and verify that's what it's
Doesn't
saying.
the PSC require that you go out and
Test the meters.
Test the meters.
Verify the meter reading? on a
There
periodic
is a scheduled meter testing, what we have to do, but to verify the reading, we don't have to do that once we know it's working.
Not at this
And
time.
I've been retired for 8 years, so it could have changed. But I know at the gas company, we had, the drive-around
Correct.
system.
Yep.
And we had to go out periodically, and I want to say it was annually, and verify that the readings were correct. Maybe that's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can do a long diagnostic check with these AMI meters if the customer has any concerns on voltages or, if the meter, they feel like the meter is overread, with an issue that the customer might have, so,
But I mean, it's just on a complaint basis. It isn't
right,
something that you do as a very thing.
Other than the regulated meter
right.
checking that we
And
have
that's
to
how,
do.
what's the meter cycle?
Is it 10 years?
20 years for the residential, and then it depends on the commercial meters. If we still have them older ones that are commercial, then they're supposed to be tested yearly. And and it depends on which rate they're in, up to 7 years. So,
Now, if I have an AMI meter and I'm moving, I can just call the office and say, give me a readout, and you don't have to go out, it's right there. Is that
Correct. And they can change the name into the new person. And so you'll be billed right up to the minute you want to be billed to, and then it'll be another person's name right then.
yep. And that all leads into that customer connect and other areas what utilities looking at. So,
So interesting follow-up, Dwayne, just on the accuracy of the meters. Now, this is a salesperson talking to me from Elster, but they said some utilities depend on the more accurate AMI meters to pay for the system over time, they said because they'll read more accurately and you'll actually probably collect a little more money over 5-10 years to pay for the meter change out just because they're billing more accurately. They'll run more consistent than the old meters. Now, I don't know, that's, I was told that, I've heard it a couple times. Have you heard that, Wayne?
I have too. I also believe that we get a lot of high bill complaints. This will help eliminate some of them high bill complaints with the Customer Connect portal. They'll actually be able to see their usage on a day-to-day or a weekly basis. Hey, I did have some friends or parents or people home, I added a new appliance or I turned on the air conditioning. That's why my bill's $50 more this month. That, takes up the meter department's time. We get between 2 and 4 of those a week. They spend at least an hour with a customer,
Now you'll be able to go back and look at 15-minute interval eventually and see exactly what happened there.
Yep. So,
Another meeting today, we had this very discussion about lagging billing, right? So I think about August, for example. Everybody's running their air conditioner in August. Get your bill for August in late September, and it's not due. So what happens is you're seeing, then it was cool in September, and you forgot that you were air conditioning the first 2 weeks of August, and they can't figure out why their bill's so high, and then they call Wayne and want to have a high bill complaint when in fact you're being billed for something you used 6 weeks ago that you've forgotten about. So there wasn't not a lot of correlation between paying today and what your usage was. So that'll help clear some of that up. It'll make some of those conversations a lot faster.
yeah. And the customer understands it quicker, typically.
So that'll be good for the customer. It'll be good for the utility on that.
I know this has been covered, but how is that information relayed? Like, how does it go from the house to?
It goes from meter to meter. Then they're called gatekeepers that are 2 substations that we have, and that collects the information and then sends it down to Whippy into the North Star system you guys were talking about or hearing about earlier today.
So a meter sends out a radio signal.
Yep.
It can be once every 12 hours, once an hour, but it sends a signal out, and it finds the next closest location. Then it takes that, and then it finally makes its way to the substations. So it's just radio wave communication. So they're talking to each other. That was part of the reason we did these 20 residential ones, to see how this mesh, they call it a mesh network, might work.
Right.
If you get a bunch out there to talking to each other to see if it's really working.
Yep.
There's some strategy in how they set those up too.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to add more of these gatekeepers, they're called, into other city buildings once we continue to add meters, if that's the direction we're gonna
Yeah.
go
So
down.
really, we're not going to go full implementation until 4th quarter of next year. So we've got 14, 15 months yet of planning and things to do. But we're trying some things. We're getting a few bugs worked out. We're getting our billing people used to billing and setting them up. So by the time next year rolls around, we'll be a little more ready. And then we'll do the water meters at the same time. It's called a water ERT. Let me see. I was gonna give you the acronym for ERT: encoder, receiver, transmitter. So it goes right on the existing water meter, and then that talks to the electric meter. So high tech. I know too. Some of you will have questions regarding the, customers, and you'll have questions too. But customers will have questions regarding that data. Where does the data go? How secure is the data? How safe are these digital transmissions and whatnot? Well, Sun Prairie's already gone through this, and I'm going to pass this around, but they give you comparisons of how much frequency one of these meters puts out as compared to, they say a baby monitor is 7 times greater with radio frequency. A Wi-Fi remote controller is 30 times. Nintendo GameCube is 180 times greater. Anyway, there's some of these comparisons, but there's all kinds of FAQs. You can pass these around to kind of see what Sun Prairie was doing. But but over the next 12, 15 months, this is the type of communication we're going to start doing with our community to get them thinking about it, get them ready for it, answer questions.
Will current staff be able to manage and troubleshoot, or will you have to have a service contract with somebody to kind of to troubleshoot problems and that sort of thing?
I think for electric, we may need a little bit of help, and for water, I think we're going to need more help. because to do the water ERT change out, that is a little more time consuming. Each of those will probably could take a half an hour. So when we have to do about 5,500 water meters, that's gonna, I think we're gonna probably have to have some help doing that from an outside consultant. Electric, it's gonna be debatable. We might need a little bit of help with electric, but it's faster.
But I guess I'm talking more about ongoing,
Oh.
after it's installed. I mean, do you see maintenance requirements at all, or support, that sort of thing?
I don't think so. I mean, hopefully, that's, I don't know, that's too good of a word to use, but we should have less maintenance, less change-outs. Our meter department should shrink, not grow, is what we're kind of thinking. Less reading. We don't have to send people out to read every month. We can just read automatically.
And WIPI,
WPPI, huh?
WIPI is always, if we had issues with these current meters that we have out there, we've done a help ticket, and within less than 24 hours, we've got a resolution to the concern that's been going on with that meter. It's usually hasn't read. It either did an update, and for some reason that meter didn't do the update. So
Currently, we're spending a lot of time reading meters, managing accounts, shut-offs, turn-ons. So a lot of that work will go away when we can do that automatically. There'll be other work, Tim, though, that technical stuff, right? Reading, understanding data, troubleshooting a meter that's not reading correctly. There will be that. Yeah, so the highlights again are we're testing a little bit. We're not going full-blown until fourth quarter next year. I'm going to spend a year educating the community, addressing issues. I can even imagine, as the community is aware of this, if River Falls is like any other community, we will have about 1% of our customers who won't want an AMI meter. And then you'll have some dollar amount where you can leave an AMR meter on their house, but it's going to be at some rate, $10, $12, $15. I've seen that in other communities. Someone who says, nope, you're not putting that on my house. And typically that's around 1%, maybe 0.8% of your customers. So we could have 60 people or so, that just say no. And then we're going to acquiesce, but there's going to be a charge for that. So those are the type of things we're going to have to work through and educate and answer questions for. Develop FAQs like Sun Prairie did, really get it out there to help people understand. And again, I really want the emphasis to be on this is for the customer, not for the utility. It's going to help our utility with some efficiencies and answering questions. But in the end, I think the capabilities are really going to be high for the customer. And some things we're not even going to realize maybe for 3, 5, 7 years. So again, today I just wanted to kind of share where we're at, where our thoughts are with that. Again, there's a few installed out there. They're working pretty well, aren't they, Wayne?
yeah, we haven't had any issues with them, out there at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another interesting thing, in talking to WPPI and the Elster contractor, about 2 years ago I asked for a price tag, and it was about $1.5 million to do both water and electric for River Falls, and now it's about $1.35 million. So it's moving in the right direction for affordability. So things are, becoming, I guess there's more competition in the marketplace, which is driving down prices, and things are becoming more efficient and more availability. So,
Correct.
and we're not first in this either. I think the WPPI system is probably pretty reflective nationally. 25 or 30% of all utilities, including munis, are on AMI already. So we're not on the bleeding edge of this. We're kind of getting to the middle of the pack. Any other questions? Thanks for being engaged on that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Wayne.
You're welcome.
Moving on to number 7 is a memorandum for the city work plan review and ideas.
Yeah, I want to get you a little bit involved in this if you want to be. But a few years ago, the city started doing a work plan where city staff kind of brainstorms about what would you like to do in your department, and just write down. And you can see the list is long and exhaustive in the spreadsheets. It's long and exhaustive. Any idea you have to think maybe to make a better utility, a better city, an idea you have for improvements or things you want to try, and they all make this really long, exhaustive list. And then we have a kind of a charrette where city council comes. I think the UAB was there last time, and you got stickers, and we went and met in the training room, and you put stickers up on the wall to things you thought were popular or things you thought were important that would get done. And then the final 20 or 25 or 30 make the final work plan, and then staff is directed to work on those things. This is all carryover from last time, but a lot of these will carry over. Maybe some of these will rise to the top that didn't make it last time. Or if there's anything else you as utility advisory board members would have a pet project or something you'd like to see happen within the city, go ahead and email me or let me know, and we can put it on the list. We call it the wish list. And who knows, it might rise to the top. So on the sticker night where you're putting your dots down, you can do some quiet lobbying, to get your project to the top of the list with some stickers. But that's kind of how it works. It's not really technical. It's more than ideas, letting people share things they want to do and want to get done, get them on the list, and then if the idea has merit, it will rise to the top. So I wanted you to be aware of that. That process is happening pretty hot and heavy here in the next month. So if you have something you'd like to see done, let me know. We'd like to put it on the list.
And Kevin, the color dots on here, those are each a city department,
Yeah,
right?
I think one
So-
represented staff, one represented council, and maybe one was the utility advisory board, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, they were, the colors represented who was sticking it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure which ones actually got more weight. I think, the council ones and advisory board sticks they carry weight, right? You folks are the policymakers. So anyway, I wanted to give you an update of where we're at and how you think. Some of you, Kevin and Patrick, some guys that are newer, might wonder, how does stuff happen? Where do projects come from? They come from ideas, and the ideas are just voted on as what we think we should be getting done. So no one's pulling them out of a hat, only kind of. And then they get voted on. So be aware, get involved if you like to be. I'd like to have you involved, or if you have something we haven't thought of, bring it up. Now's the time. Thank you.
Number 8 is the memorandum for the 2016 Compliance Maintenance Annual Report, and there is an attached resolution as well.
And Ron Groth is here again, Water Wastewater Superintendent. Ron, if you just want to give a brief overview, and if there's questions, Ron's here to help answer those. Not a lot of times that we get both of these reports together like this, but we got them both done this time. And
Yeah.
Ron, if there's anything you'd like to address, I know we had a question earlier today, and maybe I'll just hit it head on. We had a couple, let me see, on the first page, we had 5 times that our BOD was greater than 90%, and it's called an exceedance.
Right.
And Ron, you just want to talk about on the very first page, on the bottom of the first page, it says number of times the BOD was greater than 90% of design. Ron, do you just want to address that and just talk about why the exceedance on that and why our design limits?
Yeah. I think what Kevin's referring to is the influent design loading. So it was on the BOD, which is biochemical oxygen demand. So just a measure of basically biodegradable material. It's anything the bacteria consume, and they use oxygen to do it. The design is basically the engineered design. So when that plant was built, the engineers said, we think this plant can treat 3,200 pounds of BOD. And so the 90% design limit would be somewhere around a little over 2,800 pounds of BOD. 5 different months of the year, we averaged over that 2,800 pounds. So that means we were at 90% of design load. What they have that for, it's kind of like an indicator. So you say, well, we're getting 90% of, what the engineer said this plant could treat. In this case, it's not really true. There's been a lot of changes since that number was put together. We did, they added clarifiers. They probably quadrupled their settling capacity. We just upgraded our biosolids, which helps with that. So right now I can tell you we're running one oxidation ditch. We have another identical ditch that sits empty. We run one clarifier. We have another identical clarifier that sits empty. Those are the 2 big treatment processes for BOD. So right now, if you look at it, by that measure, we're probably half loaded. It's hard to say. We could have an engineer take a look at it again and say, I think that 3,200 pounds should actually be 5,000 pounds, and we could have that. But at this point, it's basically, it's not a mandate by the DNR. It's just something to keep an eye on and say, hey, we'll make sure we keep an eye on this. And we have been going out in the community to see where we maybe are getting a little extra BOD loading where, it shouldn't be normal residences, although as you add residences, that number is going to increase too. But the thing with wastewater is it goes along with water conservation. So over the last probably 10 years, a little better, water usage has been dropping, but as customers go up, they're still discharging wastewater, so the strength of it has to go up. So your strength goes up, your hydraulic loading goes down, and that's kind of what you see. When I saw it, I saw that too, and I wasn't real concerned because I know the situation. If you go to the page that shows our effluent, what our effluent is, and the score we got on that, we got 100%. So we're not anywhere close to our effluent limits. We're still doing a great job of treatment, so.
So Ron, what I'm hearing you say is one solution might be to have the plant re-engineered and update the nameplate on capacity, which has been the same
Right.
since inception.
Right. In order to get the DNR to change that 3,200 pounds, we'd have to have an engineer take a look at it and then prove to the DNR why this should be increased. And that's something we could do, and that's something you might want to do in a few years. If we get to a point where we're exceeding more months of the year that design capacity or 90% of the design, then we'd get to an action level, and then we'd have to have a response to the DNR, so.
So I would just say, so what the 5 exceedances here is probably a yellow flag, and if it gets to 5 or 6, probably a red flag, and at that point, we'll probably hire an engineer and have a new nameplate for
Right.
design capacity.
I mean, I would be way more concerned if we were getting to within 90% of our effluent limits. That would concern me, yeah. So,
Anyway, hope that's not too much information, but kind of puts it in context for the board.
Nope,
Yeah.
that's perfect. Thank you.
and everything else, I think, everything else we got 100% on, all the other categories. So last year we had a 4.0, I think this year we had a 3.92 with the BOD on the influent, so.
And loads are still down per week since our new facility?
Loads are down, yeah, loads of sludge we're hauling are down. We've actually increased what the solids were taking down there a little bit, but actual trucked loads are down, so we're hauling thicker solids, so.
30%, as we kind of thought?
Yeah, we're running, it's usually between 3 and 4%. We can't get too thick or it's hard to pump and hard to get off trucks and stuff, so. But normally, with all the rain we've had, we would have been down to probably 1.8, 1.9% solids with the old system, and now we're running over 3, so.
I was saying the truckloads are probably down about 25, 30% though.
Yeah, I'd have to figure it out again, but, yeah, I'd say 25%, yeah.
And hauling is one of our big costs, so that's good.
Right.
Yeah, you never appreciate the covered storage more until you get a big rainstorm.
Right,
You're
yeah,
not
that
hauling,
would
you're not hauling the rain.
That would have been hauled out 8,000 gallons at a time in a semi-tanker, so we would have paid for it, so.
Anyway, good reports, Ron. Good job.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
And I will move approval of resolution number 2017-05 regarding review of the wastewater treatment plant 2015 compliant maintenance annual report.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2017-05 regarding the review of wastewater treatment plant 2015 compliance maintenance annual report passes. Moving on to item 9, we have the finance report.
Al Rolick's here, our finance director.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Mr. President. It's my first time here this evening, so I'm really happy to be here and meet all of you this evening. and listen to everything that's going on with our city's utilities. It's nice to know we've got a great staff in the utility department. I've been in this business for 38, 39 years, and these guys are second to none. So I really applaud the staff here. In fact, I think I'm going to challenge Wayne to beat the 5-minute meter. So, so I just want to give a few highlights of the financials through May of 2017. Start off with the electric fund. Year to date, our operating revenues are $5.03 million, which is a decrease of $152,000 from last year. The residential sales make up for 42% of that decrease. Commercial sales make up about 36% of that decrease. Purchased power is about 68% of our total power sold. And the utilities actually recognized a savings in purchased power year to date, or year over year, of $223,000 to date. And year to date, our net income in the electric fund is $41,855. This represents a decrease of just about $77,000 from last year. In the water fund, our year-to-date operating revenues are $606,000, and this is an increase of $55,000, just about $56,000 over the 2016 revenues. And that is an increase even though our water sales are actually down. We had a rate adjustment with that last year, Kevin, and so that makes up the difference here. We've had, again, a very wet spring. We would anticipate that water sales would be down, but that rate adjustment will help us keep things afloat in that fund, so that's very good. The utility has recorded 126 million metered gallons sold year to date, and that's about a 10 million gallon reduction from 2016. Irrigation sales in 2017 stand at 5.8 million gallons compared to, and that's lower than compared to the 2016 year to date at this time. Operating expenses have increased by $34,700 in 2017 versus 2016, and expenditures stand at about 39% of budgeted expenditures to date. And our year-to-date budgets, or water revenues to expenditures, stands at a net loss of $74,000. That's not unusual at this time of the year. Most of our water sales take place during the summer months, so that's not unusual. The sewer fund year-to-date has an operating revenue of $1.2 million. Excuse me, this is a decrease of about $32,000 from last year's at this time. The operating expenses have decreased about $97,000 for operation and administration and debt service from last year. So we're being much more efficient this year. Year-to-date net income stands at about $395,000. And when we move to the stormwater fund, the year-to-date operating revenues are about $227,000, and that's an increase of about $10,000 from the last year. Operating expenses have increased by $38,000 due to full-time salaries, seasonal employees, and so forth. But to date, our net income is just under $10,000. So that fund is doing well as well. We do have dashboards, which is the next item. I wasn't going to spend a great deal of time. You all received these in your packet, and so you can review them as you see, as you can throughout your day. But I just wanted to also remind the people who may be watching out here this evening and those people that are interested that this same information can be found on the city's website by pulling up the UAB agenda for this evening, and all of the data that I've talked about this evening and the dashboards are available there. So with that, I will stand for any questions that you have.
Just a comment. First of all, thank you, Al. It's very good and thorough. I appreciate that. You look at electric and water, and someone has asked why the difference. It's really weather related. I mean, if you have temperate times of the year, and like this week, we're all loving it at home, right? The windows are open. It's 50 degrees at night. Air conditioning is not running for a whole week in this community, probably, due to the weather, and that shows up in these type of reports when people aren't using the electricity. So it's great for our customers, and but it shows up in these types of reports.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's all weather related, so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And moving on to item number 11 is the monthly utility report.
I don't have much to add to the report, other than what you see here, but if there's questions, I can take questions.
In regards to well 5 and well 6 not passing the raw water samples, is that just kind of a blip that shows up every once in a while?
You know, we never really discovered the reason for that, did we, Ron? Or did you saw something in the last couple of days? So we had one bad sample from well 5 and well 6. I got a call from Ron. We had about 20 minutes left in the 24-hour testing process, something like that. It was way towards the end of it, and they both went bad right before the very end. So then we went and got new samples, retested 2 consecutive days, and everything passed fine. So the last we talked, I don't think we were really sure what may have caused those 2 bad samples to simultaneously from different wells go bad at the same time. If it was testing equipment or whatnot, we weren't sure. If you'd finding out anything else, Ron?
No, we didn't. I mean, it was, so yeah, like Kevin said, that's the process. We got this unsafe samples. You call the DNR, they say, turn the wells off, need to resample. We resampled, reran the tests, they both came out fine. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery, so.
What made it more of a mystery to me was that you had 2 separate wells from opposite ends of towns, and then the testing sample both went bad simultaneously in a 24-hour testing period too. So, you know, maybe there was a contamination in a beaker. I mean, that's a guess, but it was something as anomaly like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect 2 on the same round of testing like that. You wouldn't expect that. Yeah, 2 different wells, 2 different parts of town, 2 different aquifers. So
follow protocol. Ron notifies the DNR, fill out the reports. We go out and retest. We come back good, and then we retest one more time. It's good. We chlorinate, restart the wells, and let her go.
Yeah, we're continually chlorinating. So yeah, basically that's why they make you do the raw water. We have to grab 1 head of chlorination just to make sure what we're putting into the system doesn't have bacteria in it. So, all right.
That's a good question, though, Adam.
Thanks. Thanks, Ron. And time for announcements? Do you have any?
Thing, Christian and I were talking about this for a while now, but would you folks be in favor of electronic packets? And if so, there we go. Diane already has her iPad. And if you are, we'd like to deliver them electronically to you. And then if you already have an electronic device you could use, that'd be fine. Or we could also get you an iPad and do it that way. If somebody's really against that, we could deliver a packet, I suppose, if somebody really wants to do that. But it'd be pretty handy for us, and I think for you, to be able to electronically deliver those. Does anybody have anything against that? So be looking for that possibly next month, but we'll get you an electronic device if you don't have one. Maybe I'll put an email out and say, would you like us to get you one, or do you have something you could read it on and bring along? So I don't know. The council does it, and we're kind of headed that direction, a little less paper. So we'll try to move that way. Also, I want to introduce Sue Langer, too. She's relatively new. Finance supervisor? Accounting manager. So, okay, manager, not supervisor. Anyway, Sue's been with us for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months, 3 months? Jeez, time flies. I can't. Seriously, we went down to that meeting. I guess that was like in the wintertime, wasn't it? That's right. So, seriously, though, isn't it true? Like months go by like weeks. It's crazy. So, welcome, Sue, and thanks for coming tonight.
Perfect. I think
That's all I have, Adam.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We're adjourned.